Well, hello, Aaron.
Hello, mate. You okay?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. Bright and busy.
I'm loving the outfit. I know you wanted us to dress up, but I didn't think it was going to be that cheerful.
Mate, it's CB Cheer. We got to be cheerful, and we got to try and stay up.
Oh.
So remember what we did last week. This is how we need to start. Okay, we need to do this. We need to go. Hey, CB Cheer!
Hey!
Yeah,
was that better?
You don't look very happy at the moment. Yeah, that's better. That's better. Welcome everybody to CB Cheer!
Hey! Oh, I can see you again.
We are trying this on Zoom, everybody, and trying to record this. Obviously, circumstances have changed. We were all set up at the church to be filming this, and now we're here in our homes. So me and Aaron are not together. He's in his house, I'm in my house, and this is very clever that you've managed to set this up for us, Aaron. Did you have any other alternative names suggested for CB Cheer?
Oh, we had none. No, I was really hoping that someone was going to pull through and come up with an absolutely amazing name. But the only thing, so I asked the young people, we did a Home Central Zoom together. I asked the young people and they said CB Chill was the only thing that they could think of. And I was like, it's just, that's even worse than CB Cheer. We can't accept that. But no one else has come up with anything, so we've got to stick with it.
This will do. It's all good. Comments. Have we had any comments and feedback from last week?
Yeah, so I got an email from, we're allowed to say names? We're okay to say names on here? Yeah, okay. Got an email from Steve Smith that was very encouraging, saying that he was encouraged by CB Cheer, that he had seen it was good work, so keep it up, which is nice. What about you?
I had one from Norman Nairn who said he really enjoyed CB Cheer. He said there was a few issues with microphone last week. If we can raise the volume a bit, we'll see at the end of this one if we've managed to do that. It was a bit quiet last week in places. So
yeah, it was. That's right. No, that was my fault actually when I was editing. But yeah.
Hopefully we'll have that a bit better. Anne Burr sent me an interesting one. Anne, thank you for this. It says, we think it's quite exciting, all that you're doing at the moment. At least if we don't like it, we can turn it off. Something we couldn't do at church.
Brutal. Good work, Anne.
We love you. Okay, we also had some funny pics sent in and some little things. Have you seen them all on WhatsApps coming around and things like that? So people have
yeah, we've got a few that we can share. I've got one to share if you want.
Go for it.
So I'm going to see if I can share the screen on here. Hang on, let me.
Okay. So everyone remember Where's Wally? Well, here's a Where's Wally. It says we need to keep our sense of humour. Where's Wally? 2000.
Where's Wally, everyone? Good. This one came through as well.
Police have released a photograph regarding a highly organised gang wanted for questioning for illegal toilet roll smuggling.
Highly organised. This one came through as well, Phil. I don't know if you've seen this one.
They said a mask and gloves were enough to go to the grocery store. They lied. Everybody else had clothes on. Aaron, that one's a bit close to the mark, mate.
All right, sorry.
Quick. Let's. Oh, this one. Now this is an interesting one. Let's play this one.
All right, here we go.
Because of coronavirus, you are going to be quarantined, but you have a choice. Do you A, quarantine with your wife and child, or B.
Straight away.
and I think we got one more. There's quite a few going around, but we like this one as well.
Yeah, here we go.
Right, guys, I had to share this one with you. I was walking down the street this morning and I came across this car with the door open, look. And when I came a bit closer, the keys was in it and everything. And then there was this. Well, I not one to look a gift horse in the mouth, so I'm having that.
And we did have some of our own people getting in touch, didn't we? Our church
we did.
Their own video.
This one's quite good. This actually got me. I'm a little bit annoyed about this. So this is Matt giving us some exercise advice. Here we go.
All right. So my coach told me that we should try and go on a run every day. Obviously, try to keep our fitness up. And then he said when you get back from a run, which I just have, he said that we should do 10 press-ups. So I was thinking, you know what, I can get you guys to do it as well. So I'm going to do mine, and I'm going to want to see you all do it. Okay. Let's move like this and see. Lovely. All right. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, that's my workout done for the day.
Were you on your hands and knees getting ready to do that with him?
Do you know what? I just sat there thinking, this is going to be a great idea. It's going to get everyone doing press ups. And then he pulled that Xbox controller out, and I was like, you've got me. I was so annoyed.
Good. We had a few pictures as well, didn't we?
So here's some of the. So you remember the children's talk that we did last week?
Yeah.
Here's some of the feedback that we've had. So I can see words in there. Nice to hug and kind. I can see love. I can see wonderful, which is nice. So remember, these are about all the women in the church who we see as our spiritual mums.
It was for Mother's Day, wasn't it?
It was Mother's Day, yeah. I think I see Mary in there at the top. You see that? I can see Mary, which is good word.
Happy mums.
Happy mums. Here we are, remembering lovely, thoughtful, happy, clever, strong. And mum, good, truthful, helpful, lovely, and caring.
Yeah, great pictures and great acronyms.
Yeah, very well
good.
done. Very, very well done.
Excellent. So it has been an interesting week. I mean, we just had a bit of fun there, but it's actually very serious what's going on at the moment, of course.
It is, yeah.
A lot of people are very ill and seriously ill with this, and it's also a very difficult time for everybody. With regards to work, in family situations and so on. And what we're seeking to do through what we're doing here is in this bit is just to try and bring some joy into this very difficult time for people. So it's not about making light of the situation at all. It's about just trying to cheer people up and have a bit of fun as well, and bring some light into people's days, because it's a tough time, isn't it? How's it been for you, Aaron? Because you're in a difficult situation at the moment. You got the back up. We're all off work at the moment. We're all self-isolating in our houses, so to speak.
We're not off work. I'm just housebound.
Yes.
So we. I think it's been really encouraging that we've seen ministers of religion are seen as key workers, as people who are able to reach out and see people. That's great. I'm home with both kids at the moment. We're trying to do what everyone else is doing who's got young kids and manage kind of education and life as well as work. And so that honestly hasn't been easy. It's been an adjustment that the kids are still going through. It's been an adjustment that we're still going through. But as long as we are working hard on getting a good kind of structure in place for the day, so that I can work and they can have fun and work at the same time, and my wife can as well. So it's not been easy. Again, we said last week, didn't we, that it's been a scary time for people, and I think it continues to be. But things, that we are where we are at the moment, and we've got to make the best of the situation and trust God that He's going to work through it. Now, I think it's possible that the relationships between parents and their children, given the exposure and the time that they have with each other, I think could potentially go up quite a lot through this time, as they kind of gather together and they're exercising together and they're having fun and all that sort of stuff. I wonder whether this could be, for some people and stuff, for some families, a real blessing in disguise.
Yeah. I hope so. It's good. It certainly can have some quality time together, and like you say, it is difficult working at home in this situation with family and so on around. But there's times there to have quality time as well. So
yeah, it's given me a lot of respect for teachers. I think now, after taking on 2 kids and not 30, I do kind of think, man, they're doing well. They've got a tough job. So be encouraged, teachers. We're learning.
A difficult time for people who are not in families or not in couples, people who are on their own and they're at home. Obviously, some people are more used to that than others. But even then, I think most manage to get out of the house at some points. And at the moment, they're not really getting out at all or seeing people.
Yeah, there's joke going around on social media at the moment about kind of introversion versus extroversion. Have you seen this? So like an introvert is someone who gains energy by just kind of being alone and enjoying themselves. And there's this picture of them being like, this is the best. And an extrovert who kind of gains their energy from other people and social interaction and stuff. And they're all kind of really struggling with it. But it's a joke, but I do believe there's probably a little bit of truth in that. Different personalities are going to cope with this differently, different situations. So I wonder whether, as a church, it's our responsibility to be thinking about people who could potentially be feeling the isolation quite a lot more than others, and to be reaching out to them and to be encouraging them and contacting. This is a church that needs to connect digitally as well as in person. It's really exciting.
Yeah. Well, that brings us on to what we're looking to do as a church at this time as well. And what's been really encouraging for me is we put some letters out last week asking people to offer help if they were willing to help with practical care in terms of doing people's shopping or whatever, getting out and helping with that. And also being available to pray was another way people could help for people, and to just make phone calls, to ring people up and just say, just have a chat with them so that they're not so lonely, and people are willing to do that as well. And we've had a tremendous response. It's been really good. With people from the church saying, yes, we'd like to care for other members of our church family. Now, of course, some of the shopping things have got a little bit more difficult. Now we're all having to stay at home, although there is still the possibility to go out and help if you're helping someone in taking some food round, if you like, to shops for those that can't get out at all themselves. But it's been great to see the response. I'd just like to remind everybody out there that if you are one of those people who does need help or would appreciate the call, then if you let us know, we have people that are ready to respond to that, and want to care for the family, want to express that by being a loving, caring family as a church, which is great.
Yeah, it is.
You've been also doing stuff for the young people and children. You're working on that, yeah? Tell us about the things you've done this week.
Yeah, so I've been working on, there's a children's series online that we're going to start. So I'm using a kind of illustration program to get some good children's videos out that have got an activity at the end, something that they can do. So they learn something, to do an activity with the family. We're just starting. You'll see the one that we're going to show you at the end of this video, which is going to be on the the 7 I am sayings of Jesus in John's Gospel. So we're going to have 7 videos, and the first one is Jesus saying, "I'm the bread of life." So we're going to be exploring that with the children and working that through, and then hopefully doing a word search at the end of it.
Yeah, brilliant.
But for the young people, I do want to say again, it's possible that I said this last week, that if any of the young people, I do realise that stopping school so suddenly for a lot of people means stopping their social contact almost completely with people that they were seeing on a daily basis and expected to have more time with. That is a really difficult thing to have to deal with. That's a really difficult thing. So if you've got any young people in the family or anyone who's struggling particularly with that issue, or with any other issue of kind of being home, then please do email me, get in contact. We can do a Zoom chat like this. I could have a chat with them. It'd be a really good time to be able to sit down with some young people and just be able to talk to them.
Yeah, good. And in the meantime, we're still doing things like as well, but the sermon, the message for this week for church is going to be online. That'll be available for Sunday morning as well to watch, so you can tune in as normal. Don't forget this weekend that the clocks go forward.
Oh, do you know what? I'd genuinely forgotten that. I'd actually forgotten that, yeah.
There you go, Aaron. The clocks go forward, so this weekend, but by 10 o'clock, they'll probably be up there well before that, to be honest, but you could sit and watch it at 10, or you can watch it any time. There'll be this week's message. We're finishing off James 5, and that will be on video like this. That's going to be a bit of a new experience for me, doing a sermon like this, instead of preaching at front of church. So also we got a worship song that we're going to play as well. We're hoping to try and do some kind of prayer meeting together through Zoom or something like that, Aaron. We've had a little chat about this, but it would be good to make that available to everybody in the church. I know you've done Zoom conferencing with the young people in the week as well, haven't you? You've kind of had a chat with all the young people. If we could do something where we could connect something up where a lot of us could meet together and pray. We haven't, it would be good to try and do that. So we'll look into that
Yeah,
this
agreed.
week.
Yeah.
And see if that's something we can make available to people to sign into as well. They can all join us here on the screen.
Well, they could. We can have up to 100 people here. So.
Brilliant. Brilliant. It'd be a really good big prayer meeting if we got 100, wouldn't it? It'd be great.
Be great. Yeah.
You've got that as well. Do you know what someone said? Someone said it feels like the earth has sent us all to our rooms to think about what we've done.
Yeah, I like that. That is. Yeah, that's very good. Yeah.
Do you know what? Maybe it feels like God has sent us all to our rooms to think about what we've done. Actually, it could be a good time for people reflecting, couldn't it, on that and thinking about, you know, what we've done, where we're going in life, what life is all about. It gives people time to think about those kind of things as well.
Yeah, I've spoken to some. There's been a few people in church that have said to me, "I've still got questions about God. I'm still trying to work things through." And those phrases, "I've got questions," or "working things through." Sometimes all they need is for you to have a little bit of time to look into those questions or to work those things through. And actually, this is the gift that we've got at the moment, isn't it? Is to have that time to be able to work through. So again, we said this last week, but just it's a great time to invest in your relationship with God.
It is, and if anyone wants to talk through things like that as well, this is a good opportunity because, like you said before, we are still working. Our whole staff team is still working, and very hard. Nikki, Dan, Lisa, you and me, we're all still doing that. We're just having to do that at home in a different way. But it also means we are available to take calls like this. So for Lisa, for you, for me, if people want to ring up and talk through anything like that as well, they've got more time, we've got more time, we can sit and have a chat about anything like that. We had some good news last week. Sandra and I were getting a little bit concerned about our daughter who'd gone away with Youth with a Mission, and she was traveling around the world doing different Christian work, and was in Australia at the worst. She was actually in one or two countries where coronavirus was really big and happening and so on, and she ended up back in Australia again. And we were kind of wondering, how are we going to be able to get home? You may have heard about on the news, lots of people stranded out there in Australia and haven't been able to get back. So, but we managed to get a flight, and we managed to fly her home again. But it was good to get back. In fact, I'm going to go and get her, and she can just tell us a little bit about what she's been up to, and what that's been like for her. So I'm going to do that.
Yep, that's fine.
I'll go get her. Okay, here she is.
Woo! Hi, Beth.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good, thanks.
You good?
So, Beth, tell us a little bit about. We're just doing a CB chair. You've got to do this when we do CB chair. CB chair.
Hey, Beth, you really? Yeah, no, that's fine. Good. I'm glad, Beth, you're on my side. That's okay.
Beth, you've been traveling. Tell us a little bit about it, and then what it was like, because you had to come home quick because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, so I was doing my discipleship training school program, my DTS with YWAM, Youth with a Mission. So I was based in Perth in Australia for 3 months, and then I was traveling for 3 months after. So I did 3 months while I was traveling. I was the last place I was in America, in Seattle. And then things started to get worse with the coronavirus. So we were still okay, we were still there, and everything was fine. But yeah, kind of when we were going around Seattle, everything was starting to close up. We were talking to the locals, and they said the streets are not nearly as busy as they normally are. Normally it's packed, but it was very quiet. So it was quite surreal for them. But then once we got on the plane, we flew from Seattle to Singapore to change flights. And when we got off at Singapore, they'd brought in a new rule for anyone flying into Australia had to be quarantined for 2 weeks. So yeah, it was quite a big shock for us. So a few people decided to go home then from Singapore. But the rest of us went on to Australia, and we're just in quarantine. So we were just staying in. We were allowed to be quarantined together, which was nice. So we still managed to have a bit of a debrief week with the small group that we were with, and it was fine. But I was meant to be visiting family and friends a few weeks after my DTS, but obviously everything was cut short with flights being cancelled. So made the call to come home earlier than expected. So flew home last Thursday. Yeah.
Good.
And you're so glad to be home, aren't you, with your daddy?
Oh, dude, the cringe is huge.
Stuck in for at least 3 weeks with a dad. How wonderful for me, how wonderful for Beth.
Stuck him in his ear. There we go. Just before you did that introduction to Beth, I realised that my daughter was outside the door humming through the bottom of the door. So it's possible that got picked up on the microphone. So if you're getting tunes coming through, that's my daughter's lovely voice. All right.
That's lovely.
Last week we had a Bible challenge. You posted us a question. What is the answer to that question? That's what we want to know.
Okay, so we looked in the Bible. We were looking at Isaiah, weren't we? We said Isaiah 43 said, "Forget the former things." Isaiah 43 verse 18 and 19 said, "Forget the former things," and Isaiah 46 verse 9 and 10 talks about remember the former things. And we said, so which are we meant to do? Are we meant to forget the former things or remember the former things? Do they contradict each other? It was a conundrum, it seemed. But lots of different ideas about this one. Don't want to preach a sermon on it right now, but here's a thought to do with it. I think it's saying about remember what God has done in the past. Remember his saving power. Remember all the times that he was faithful to his people, that he looked out for them. As the Israelites would look back, as these people would look back and see God's hand upon them and him guiding them and him helping them and saving them and always being there for them, even when they kept messing up and failing. So remember what God did, but forget how he did it. As in, don't just dwell on, oh, well, God does it that way, because God is always looking to do new things. And a good example of that would be what was reinstituted in the Feast of the Passover, where the blood had been painted over the doors of the houses for the Passover, and God had led his people out of Egypt. But then he was doing a new thing when he instituted the Lord's Supper, and he said, when you do this now, because they were having the Feast of the Passover, when you do this, remember me, remember my blood shed for you, put over your life in effect, because those who trust in me, my blood that's about to be shed on the cross will cover you in your sin so that you can be saved as well. So what Jesus was doing was he was still the same God that was continuing to save and look after his people, but he was doing it in a new way. And so the way I kind of look at this is we've got to remember how faithful God is, and he will help us. He will be there for us. Not always in the same way, not always in the way that we expect, but his faithfulness is the same, but he's always going to be looking to do new things with us and amongst us, and we just need to be open and ready for that, whatever that is, even if we don't always understand it. So that was my Bible challenge. Any other thoughts on that one you can come back to me with? Have you got one for this week?
Yeah, I do. So I was having a look this week. Psalm 112 verse 9 says this: they have freely scattered their gifts to the poor. Their righteousness endures forever. Their horn will be lifted high in honor. So the question that I've got is, what New Testament principle does this point us towards? And how do we see it fulfilled in Jesus Christ? All right, so that if you need that again, it'll be at the bottom of the screen, but Psalm 112, verse 9. The question is, what New Testament principle does this point us towards? And how do we see it fulfilled in Jesus? Ooh, good question, Aaron. Thank you.
Good question, Aaron. Good question. All right. Well, let's have a look at what you've the answers to that one next week when we come back together again. It'd be good to hear back from people for all kinds of things. If you've got questions, if you've got comments you'd like to make, you've got funny pictures and ideas. If you'd like to make a little video like Matt pushed it earlier for us to feature on this as well, it can be what you're doing in your house. It can be you're baking with your family, or you're reading a book, or whatever you're doing, knitting a jumper, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to send a little video in of yourself, we can include it on here. If you want to do something funny for us, you can send that in, bring a smile to all our faces. and let's use CB Cheer to bring some cheer into people's lives as well. That'd be really good. I think it'd be good to just finish this bit off with a prayer, and then we can go on to the children's video. Is that all right, Aaron?
Yeah, just to say as well, just before you do that, that's
Yep.
parents who, I mean, Phil, you will have known that there's a huge amount of digital noise going on at the moment. There's so many people that are online because they've got access to social media and things like that. So what I've done is we've tried to put a list of all of the good resources for children and for teenagers, and Dom has very kindly uploaded that to the website. So now the address should be here, just here below. That is where you can go to see if you can find all of those resources. If you've got any resource suggestions that's not on that list, can you forward them to me, please? So my email address is here as well. So pass them on. That'd be really good.
I love the way that you do that all the time, where you can point and things happen like that. So if I point here, can a bird appear here now? A picture of a bird.
Yeah, we can try it. Yep.
Okay. Okay. A donkey.
Well, I mean, yes, that's fine. We could do that. Yeah.
All right. Shall I stop? Shall I stop now?
No, I mean, you can carry on. I could send one down to you if you wanted. So I could find a ball that I could throw over your direction, and then you could catch it.
Oh, go for it. Go for it.
All right, here we go then. Here we go.
Oh, yes. We were going to pray, and it's been good to catch up with each other. It's been good to be able to do this for the people at home. We love you all. We are thinking about you all at this time and praying for you all. And we're going to just pray together now to finish. This is a prayer that someone sent through. Again, it's a prayer that is quite well known. It's called the Serenity Prayer. Someone thought it might be quite appropriate for this time as we just close this together. So it's the full version of the Serenity Prayer. So let's pray. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time, enjoying the moment at a time, accepting hardships as the pathway to peace, taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever and ever in the next. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Aaron. And I think it's time to watch children's video.
Yep, let's get that rolling. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye.
In God's true book, the Bible, Jesus uses pictures to tell us 7 great things about himself. And they all start with the words, I am. Now, I'm going to give you a clue to what our first one is. Here's a picture. Can you see it yet? Jesus said, I am the bread of life. Now, what's your favourite type of bread? White bread, brown, seeded, toasted, granary, pita, naan? My favourite bread is a freshly baked white bread. It's so good. Now, I know one type of bread that you won't like to eat. That's mouldy bread. Oh, look at that. Good bread gives us energy, doesn't it? It keeps us going. But mouldy bread takes it away. It stops us going. Our bread keeps us going, but after a bit of time, we need some more. Jesus says he is good bread. He's good bread from heaven. Now, Jesus uses this picture to say that when we believe in Jesus and we follow him, we will live forever. He is the bread that keeps us going forever. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that's absolutely awesome. Where are we going to live forever? Well, don't worry. God's got that all sorted. So, to remind ourselves that Jesus is the bread of life, why don't you get a piece of paper and a pen? You can draw a grid, just like this one. Put in words like bread, Jesus, live, always. Then make sure you write it to the right-hand side, just like this. And then fill in the other squares with random letters. Now make sure that you've written all your letters down. and then give it to someone to complete. Now remember, when we believe in Jesus, we get to live with him forever.